Let it be. But me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to Thursday Night Football Overtime. Panthers hosting the Atlanta Falcons in a little bit of NFC South family business. You know how the family do it. Man, oh man. Before I even start this breakdown, I gotta get this off my chest. Man, I hate the 2020 Atlanta Falcons. They can kiss my ass, okay? I'm sick of this shit. Every time I pick these bastards, they find some creative and innovative way to blow a lead and lose a goddamn game. But every time I say, you know what? I've had enough of this shit. I'm not picking the Falcons. I don't pick them. The dirty bastards want to win, okay? The 2 times I went against the Falcons this year, against Minnesota, and tonight, they said, nope, gonna go on the road and find a way to win a game. Kiss my ass, Atlanta, okay? Sick of this shit. Let me say something about the Panthers, too. This is the second time this year that a team that has surprised everybody early in this season, you remember back in week 3 or 4, Jacksonville was playing better, and I swore, I was like, look, I'm telling you, Jacksonville's playing a lot better ball than you guys expected. They already won a game. Look out for the Jaguars, and they came and they laid an egg on Thursday Night Football. Carolina, they're playing better football. Matt Rule's turning it around in Carolina. Watch out for the Panthers. And then they lay this stinking ass dud. Look, what was I to expect? I don't know why I thought I was going to get something different. Black Alex Smith did what Black Alex Smith does. Check the goddamn football down 50 million damn times. The Falcons were never scared. Bone crusher, never scared. To bring all their guys up to the line of scrimmage and dare Teddy to throw the football more than 5 yards down the damn field. Check down after check down after check down. What the hell do you expect from the damn Black Alex Smith? I don't know why the hell I thought all of a sudden now Carolina was just going to play competent football. Atlanta's the better team. And I've known that all season long, but they keep finding ways to F me over. Finally decide, you know what? Enough's enough. Tired of getting my pants pulled down, pointed at, and laughed at. So you know what? Not picking Atlanta. I'm not effing with these bastards no more, and look what they go and do. Hey, how you guys doing? Thanks for joining me tonight. Falcons, get the win. They're second of the season. The Falcons, let's be honest with each other. The Falcons should be like 5-2 right now. 5-3. They have no business being 2-6. They're a better football team than that. It doesn't matter. They get the win tonight. And, all the trade rumors and all of that stuff, they don't make sense for me. You're not trading. Matt Ryan is still playing at a very high level. And the Panthers defense made Matt Ryan look like Daniel Jones tonight, a.k.a. Vanilla Vic. We got to stop doing that. I got to stop doing that. They made Matt Ryan look like a damn scrambling quarterback tonight. He was running all over their asses. They couldn't stop Julio. They couldn't stop Julio Jones. They never can stop Julio Jones. What am I talking about? I remember that game where Julio had 300 yards receiving on these clowns. I remember that game. They can't stop Julio Jones. They couldn't stop the Falcons on third downs tonight. Hence, and conversely, they couldn't convert a third down tonight. It's laughable. They're 3-5. This is not a good Panthers football team. There are so many no-names on this team. Now, what I will tell you is, and I'm going to stick to this, Matt Rule's going to change that program. They're going to be a good football team. And you see the makings of it, But they got a lot of young players. They got a lot of no-name guys that probably shouldn't be playing on an NFL field. Not at this point of the season, at least. Not in week 8. Maybe in week 15 when you got nothing on the line. Maybe you should be playing some of these guys. But they got a bunch of guys running around that they're trying them out. They don't really know what the hell's going on. Matt Rule's treating this like he's still at Baylor or he's at Temple. Got a bunch of guys in here that he wants to try out. Figure out who can and who can't do it. And I'll tell you what, there was some pretty soft-ass coverage tonight. A lot of undisciplined coverage defensively on third downs. Julio Jones, did anybody even make an attempt to cover him tonight? How many times was he wide-ass open in some soft-ass zone coverage tonight? Ridiculous. How many times are you going to allow Matt Ryan to scramble on you? I mean, what are we doing here anyway? Matt Rule, the hallmark of a Matt Rule coach team is supposed to be physical and fast. I didn't see much of either tonight. Really disappointing. On the offensive side of the football, it looked like the focus was going to be, hey, let's get the football to Curtis Samuel. It was working. Why'd you stop? I don't know. I'm just asking for a friend. Anyway, the Falcons get the win. Let's talk about the Falcons first. Okay, to the victors go the spoils. Raheem Morris is doing a hell of a job with this team. They should be 3-0 under Raheem Morris, but then again, they should be 5-3, and Dan Quinn should still be coaching this team, but they're not because they don't know how to win. But they found a way to get it done tonight. Okay, it wasn't pretty, but it was gritty. And it was crazy when Wk8 missed that extra point. I said, these bastards are going to find a way to lose this game. This game is going to be tied. It's going to go to overtime, and they're going to lose. And we're going to be talking about how the Falcons blew another lead. No, that's not how this story ends tonight. Because Black Alex Smith wasn't capable of taking his team down the field. Look, first of all, why the hell is the punt returner, hell, I forgot his name. Used to play with the Rams. What the hell are you fair catching the ball at like the 4-yard line? What are you doing, man? Seriously. The game's on the line. You're going to fair catch the ball at the 4? Farrah Cooper, that's his name. What are you doing, man? I didn't see a discipline team. How many times did Teddy Bridgewater get to the end of a play clock, and I'm looking like, are you going to get this snap off? Didn't I say we were going to talk about the Falcons? Why do I keep finding a way to whittle my way back to the damn Panthers? Because they pissed me the hell off tonight. That's why. Let me talk about the damn Atlanta Falcons. They won this game. I thought that they executed beautifully on offense. I really thought that tonight they controlled this game. They put it one time. The Panthers couldn't get them off the field defensively, and they kept converting. And it really didn't matter what 3rd and 17, 3rd and 5, 1st and 10, 2nd and 7. Julio Jones is always open. And when it wasn't Julio Jones, it was Hayden Hurst. When it wasn't Hayden Hurst, early in the game, it was Calvin Ridley. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm no doctor, and I didn't sleep at the Holiday Inn last night. I think he broke his foot. Every time they don't know what the hell's going on, they just tell you, oh, it's an ankle injury. If somebody tears their Achilles, it's an ankle injury. No. I know when I see an Achilles, and I know when I see an ankle injury. I know the difference between the two. I don't think he hurt his ankle. We'll find out. He could have hurt his ankle. I think he broke his foot. I think, and as soon as he did it, I said, I know exactly what he did. A lot of weight. His foot was bent like this. The defender falls down on him, collapses on his foot as it's in that vulnerable position. I think he's got a hairline fracture right in the middle of his foot. And you saw him as he tried to stand up, he couldn't, and he kept grabbing the top of his foot right here, and he wouldn't let it go. I'm telling you, what happened to him? I think he's got a hairline fracture right on the top of his foot, right here. I wouldn't be shocked, and I can't confirm nor deny this. And again, I'm no doctor, and I didn't sleep at a Holiday Inn last night. I wouldn't be shocked if we found out that Calvin Ridley broke his foot tonight, and he's got a fractured foot, whatever they want to call it. I'd be shocked if they come back and tell me that he's got an ankle injury and it's an ankle sprain and he's out for the next 2 to 4 weeks. I'd be shocked. If I'd be more surprised if they say that than if they tell me his foot is broken. But he was open early in the night before he got injured. Matt Ryan missed him on the interception, and he hit him on the slant that he hurt his foot on. The Panthers defensively looked soft tonight. They looked soft. They were never around the football. And you got to give credit to the Falcons. They're so talented offensively, and Gurley ran effectively when he was in the game. So did Brian Hill. They really did whatever they wanted to do. Honestly, this game shouldn't have been as close as it was. I thought Raheem Morris was scared a bit early. I thought he was a little bit scarred from what happened last week and I cussed him out for this. The hell are you doing going for it 4th and 5 last week? Don't give me that bullshit about being aggressive. That's stupid. That's not aggressive. 4th and 1 tonight, that's being aggressive. You should have done it. But because you went for it last week and it came back to bite you in the ass, you thought about it and you said, you know what? Let's go ahead and kick the field goal. It turned out to be the right thing because if you didn't kick that field goal then, and let's say you didn't get it, and you would have gotten it. Panthers weren't stopping you tonight. You would have gotten it. If you didn't get it, this score would have been 5-point lead instead of an 8-point lead. It changes the tenor of this game dramatically. So it ended up being the right thing. But in the moment, I'm like, why aren't you going for this? It's literally inches. It's not even a full yard. He was scared. And I don't blame him. He was scarred from a week ago. But he should never even been in that position because he should have kicked the field goal last week. But that's nor here nor there. Bottom line is the only thing that kept this game within striking distance was the fact that the Falcons couldn't finish drives. They had to keep settling for field goals as they got close to the end zone. If they could have finished off at least one more of those drives, preferably the first one of the game when they had a 4th and inches from about the 7 or 8 yard line, they probably win this game going away because the Panthers, outside of the turnover and the flea flicker and, the first drive of the game, they really didn't move the football all that effectively. They couldn't convert on third downs. I want to blame the weather. I want to talk about the rain. Well, the Falcons were playing in that same weather. It did seem like when the Falcons had the football, it calmed down a bit. And when the Panthers have it, it'd be a monsoon. But that's no here nor there. They were awful on third downs with the Panthers. Conversely, the Falcons were outstanding on third downs. And the two of those things combined really made it for a dominant performance. Honestly, the scoreboard doesn't tell the story. The Falcons really dominated this game. Over 400 yards of total offense. I don't know what their third down percentage was, but I'd like to guess that thing was up around 60% in this game. If they had 10 third downs, they were 6 of 10. Like, they dominated this football game. Conversely, when the Panthers were on the field on third downs, I bet you they were something like 2 of 11. Or, 1 of 11. Whatever. It had to be 2 because they completed the third down to Moore late in the game when the Falcons gave up the big ball down the field. So 2 of 11 or something like that. They were atrocious on third downs, were the Panthers. So defensively, you dominated on third downs. Offensive, something you haven't done all season long. Offensively, you dominated on third downs. That's a recipe for success in this league. And I thought that the thing I've always loved about the Falcons defensively is they're just fast on defense. And they draft guys that fit their DNA as a defense. They've always drafted guys at the linebacker position and in the secondary that can run. And it's a fast, free-flowing defense. And I've always loved that and admired that about Atlanta. Yeah, they may be a little undersized, and, you get the right team. You probably can run it down their throats. But this is a fast, free-flowing defense. And they're going to fly around to the ball, and they did that tonight. Teddy tried to run away a couple of times, like on that 4th down when they tried to go for it. He was run down by Foye. I call him F.O. Ran him down like he stole something from him and he wanted it back. Hawked him down, slung him down onto the ground. Michael Walker is another guy they just drafted out of Fresno that can run. All of their guys can run at the linebacker position. You're not going to outrun these guys. And so when you're throwing these underneath checkdowns like Teddy Bridgewater, it's just not going to work against this defense. And I thought they did a really good job of just, look, if it's not broken, don't fix it. The Panthers had problems picking up the blitz tonight. Well, guess what? I'm just going to blitz the draws off of you. Until you prove to me that you can pick this up, I'm just going to keep coming with it. And then when you think I'm coming, I'm going to drop out. You're going to check it down, and you're going to check it down right into the defense that is dropping, and we're going to rally up, make the tackle, and you got to punt. And the Panthers were all kinds of confused, and you got to credit Jeff Albrecht and this Falcons defensive staff for putting a game plan in place that gave them a legitimate shot to win this football game. They went out, they executed, and they really dominated this football game. Again, the score doesn't tell the story. I thought this was a dominant performance by the Falcons, and if they could have finished off some of those drives with touchdowns, we're not even having a discussion about an 8-point game and a one-possession ball game, and oh my God, are the Falcons going to blow another lead? This game could have easily been well in hand midway through the fourth quarter had they finished off some drives earlier in the game, but they get the win, 25-17. They get their second win of the season. It's just a shame when you watch this team and you see some of the talent that they have and you see the dynamic ability of this offense and you see all the speed that they possess defensively. I get it. It was the Panthers and their offense doesn't scare you and you don't have elite rushers do the Falcons, but this team shouldn't be 2-6. That's the biggest takeaway from tonight is we weren't just watching a 2-6 football team. It's crazy because there are a couple of those teams in the league right now that you're watching and saying, they don't belong at 2-6, or they don't belong at 2-5. I'm watching the Chargers, and I'm saying that's not a 2-6 ball club that I just watched last week beat up the Jaguars. They shouldn't be 2-4 right now. That's a 4-2, 3-3 a ball club at worst, 3-3. They shouldn't be 2-4 under 500. But same thing can be said for the Falcons. This isn't a 2-6 team I watched tonight. That's a 5-3 ball club. That's a 6-2 ball club. But when you can't find ways, and it's a fine line, we talk about it all the time in this league. It's a fine line in this league between 6-10 and 10-6. And usually there are a few things you can point to. 1, turnovers, 2, injuries, and 3, late game execution. All of those things can factor into how a season turns out. But if you can't execute in late game situations, at the end of halves and at the end of ball games, if your field goal kicker misses kicks, if you don't execute when it matters most in winning time, you'll end up on the wrong side of that 6-10, 10-6 equation. And that's essentially what's going to happen to the Falcons. They'll win 6 games this season. And we'll look at this season and we say, you didn't have, and that's why the talk of blowing this team up makes little to no sense to me. This team isn't that far away. They just had a bad season in terms of luck at the end of games. And some of it isn't luck. Some of it is luck. At the end of the day, you've got to make your own breaks. The Falcons didn't make enough of them this season, and that's why they sit here at 2-6. But don't tell me that this team isn't talented enough to compete next year. If you bring them back as is, don't move any pieces. You bring everybody back. And they stay relatively healthy. And that's the crying shame of this, is that normally this time of the year, as we get to week 8, Deion Jones is gone. Keanu Neal is gone. All of these guys are healthy this year. All of these guys are healthy and well, and they're running around, and now you stink because you can't finish off ball games. So if you bring this team back as is, add a pass rusher, I think that's the thing you're missing, is I like Dante Fowler Jr. He needs help. Bring a pass rusher in here that can do something. And by the way, I thought the ejection of Harris was trash. Charles Harris didn't need to be ejected from this game. That wasn't helmet to helmet. Yeah, he hit him in his head. Whatever. Don't throw him out of the game. 15-yard penalty short. Don't throw him out of the game for that. That's trash. Okay? But this officiating crew is trash. Anytime you see Hockley, run the other way. All right? The young Hockley and his crew are awful, and they're going to call a bunch of ticky-tacks, and they did again tonight. But that's nor here nor there. Falcons are now 2-6. They get the win 25-17. Panthers are now 3-5. They've lost 3 in a row after winning 3 in a row after starting the season 0-2. This is who the Panthers are, though. They're a team that's they're growing. They're young. They're going to make a bunch of mistakes. They have no business being in the discussion for the postseason. And tonight was pretty much the straw that broke the camel's back. This is the one that if you were really serious about playing meaningful games into November, you needed to win tonight. Now you've thrown away that opportunity. You got to go to Kansas City next week. Ding! You're now 3-6. You might as well go ahead. I don't care you get Christian McCaffrey back. Your offense with McCaffrey, without McCaffrey, it's not good enough. Period. End of discussion. And your defense, not good enough. So this was the one you had to have. You needed to get this one to get back to 500. Let's face it, you've won some games you had no business winning anyway. So the fact that you're here at 3-5 now, you should count your blessings, because you were supposed to be one of those 1-7 teams right now. But you're 3-5, so it is what it is. But the competitive portion of your season, it's done now. You had a chance. You let a 1-6, and it's family business. You throw the records out the window. I understand that. I totally know and understand what family business means. Okay, so you can throw the records out the books, but you needed to win this football game, and you did it. So, I've already talked about the Panthers. I really don't need to get into the Panthers anymore, because it really comes down to 2 things: third down defense, third down offense. They were bad on both. They failed on 4th down twice. You lose the football game. It's really not much more to explain here. It really isn't. It really boils down to you couldn't get stops. Literally, the Falcons didn't punt until the 6-minute mark of the 4th quarter. How are you going to win a game doing that? Like, it's rare that you win a game where you don't force a single punt until literally the midpoint to the final stages of the 4th quarter. Not going to win many games doing that. Anyway, I digress. Let's get to the comment section and see what you guys have to say. Niners fan says, I feel so bad for Matt Ryan, Julio, Alex Mack, Grady Jarrett, Deion Jones, who are among the best at their respective positions but have to be stuck on this team. Hope they are traded soon. Those guys aren't going anywhere. If you're going to try to turn this thing around in Atlanta, all of the guys you named, with the exception of Alex Mack, who's up there in age, all of those guys are going to be a part of the solution. They're not a part of the problem. As you mentioned, they're good football players. However, I do feel bad. I was just thinking, it was funny. I was doing a video like a week or two ago, and my man Captain Spartan says #free Deion Jones, and I'm thinking to myself, you're so right. Like Deion Jones deserves to be playing for a team that's good because he's such a good linebacker. I love me some Deion Jones. But then, you look at all, and you just named so many talented guys. This team doesn't belong at 2-6. And it's because of that reason right there. They got so much talent. It doesn't make sense. It's got to be so frustrating being a Falcons fan right now. It really does. It started with that Super Bowl in 2016, and it really hasn't gotten much better after that. It's had to be really frustrating being an Atlanta Falcons fan, seeing the things that have transpired since that Super Bowl. It's been a steady downhill decline if you're a Falcons fan. Really, it has been. And you've got talent. That's same thing with the Cowboys, which is why if I'm a Cowboys fan, I'm hot right now because we got talent. What are we doing sitting here at 2-5 with all of this talent? What are we doing here with one of the worst defenses known to mankind with all of this defensive talent that we have? Why can't we figure this out? I don't know. Stop asking. Niners fan also says, can you imagine our offense if we had Julio? Damn, Kyle would be so happy. Nobody would stand a chance against us if those two reunited. Kyle always spoke of having a dude outside. He calls it a dude, at the receiver position. And, he used to consider Pierre Garçon a dude in Washington. And I'm pretty sure when he was in Atlanta, Julio was a dude. And, yeah, he would love to have Julio. You saw what he did as the offensive coordinator in Atlanta. Who could stop that offense when Kyle was there? Like, the respect that I have for Kyle Shanahan. I think he's one of the best offensive minds in football. And he can turn any running back into a 1,000-yard back. And he can take any offense that you give him, essentially. I watched this guy take the Cleveland Browns and make them a formidable offense and had them leading their division halfway through the season. Kyle Shanahan's a maestro. So if you handed him Julio Jones, you wouldn't be able to stop him, as you mentioned. Ree says, Lou, I just wanted you to know how much your content has helped me. I suffer from depression and anxiety, and the channel has been Hey, look, man. We've talked before. And you're my guy. And I'm glad that this has been a source of happiness and an outlet and something that you could look forward to, man. And I appreciate that I could help. I'm just glad that you're doing well. And continue. That's an ongoing fight, an ongoing battle. And all we ask is that you continue to fight, man. Put up the good fight. And we love you, dude. We appreciate you. And hope you continue to do well, man. Always. Reese says, Teddy Bridgewater is a good quarterback. I'm tired of him being slandered. He's the black Alex Smith, and there's nothing wrong with that. Be who you are. Alex Smith is a good quarterback. You're not going to win with Alex Smith, just like you're not going to win with Teddy Bridgewater. But I will say this, Teddy Bridgewater is more likely to throw for 300 yards than Alex Smith ever was. So there is a bit of a distinction there, but for the most part, they're one and the same. Just a difference in pigmentation. That's it. Same mindset, similar athleticism. It is what it is. I like Teddy just like the next man, but I know who he is. Captain Spartan 04 says, you better not get on my Louisville Teddy, boy Teddy. I'm sorry. If you have a problem with me calling a spade, I can't help you. Okay? I can't help you. JP says, my man Teddy Two Gloves threw the stupidest interception I've ever seen at the end of the Falcons. At the end, all the Falcons corners saw it. It was so clear as day, even Stevie Wonder could see that ball coming. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what he was looking at. I don't know if he thought that flag was on the Falcons and he had a free play. I don't know what he was doing, but that was an egregious pick. They weren't going to score a touchdown anyway. In my mind, because I picked Carolina, I wanted some miraculous comeback. And after Wk8 missed the extra point, after Teddy hits DJ Moore for 42 on third and forever, I'm thinking, they're going to do this, man. They're going to come back and win this game. And then when I saw Teddy casually scramble for 4 yards, I said, they're not going to do this. What is he doing? I said, this is so trash. And sure enough, 2 plays later, Teddy Two Gloves, as you called him, throws a damn interception. And an ugly one, too. Again, I don't really know what he was doing on that play. I'd have to watch and see, but didn't look like that was even remotely close to a receiver. And take it a step further, looked like it was more Falcons in the vicinity than Panthers players. But what do I know? JP says, Brian Burns looks so damn goddamn legit. I vouched for the Redskins to draft him in 2019. I did as well. But that spin move he put on the right tackle. Caleb McGarry. Ooh! Boy, Caleb McGarry was lost in the sauce on that one. I don't know what happened to Burns on that play. He was holding his side. But that was a vicious spin cycle there, man. That was delicious. Flavor delicious, boy. That was vicious. Anyway, Trattoria says, Morris is scared of Arthur standing on the sidelines. I don't know why Arthur Blank continues to come down to the sidelines. I don't know why he continues to do this. There was a meme of him last week as they blew the lead of him with his hands on his hip. I was like, Arthur, why are you doing this, man? Stop. I remember Jerry Jones used to come down, and then he realized probably not the smart thing to do. I'm just going to keep mine behind upstairs. I think Arthur should adopt that as well. Anyway, he's going to keep doing it. He hasn't stopped. I don't think he's going to. Reese says, Lou, I ordered my pewter Tom Brady jersey in June. I just got it today. Wow, it took you that long to get it? That goes to show you just how those jerseys were selling like hotcakes. That's ridiculous. But you got it in time for the stretch run. This team looks like they're legit. It would have been a damn shame if you would have gotten it and you were 2-6 at this time, or 2-5 right now. But instead, you're 5-2 and your team looks really damn good. And you're gonna be 2-6 or 6-2 because you're playing the Giants on Monday and they stink. Black LB says, why do I keep talking about the Panthers? Because they pissed me the hell off tonight. That's why. Lou, you be having me rolling, dog. Look, man. I sometimes I catch myself and I don't even realize it. But I said, all right, we're gonna talk about Atlanta. And somehow I just magically veered back over to the Panthers and it hit me. Why do I keep talking? Because they pissed me off tonight. That's why. And so I didn't mean to be rude, Panthers fans, if you're out there. Just frustrated. That's all. That's it. Got an unnecessary loss tonight. Didn't need it. Kevin the PRF says, isn't it strange how the Panthers played parallel our game versus the 2019 Panthers? Looked good on the 2 drives, then looked soft the rest of the game. I don't know if this was a direct apples to apples comparison, but yeah, they looked good early in the game and then didn't really look good at all thereafter. I can tell you this. It was funny. I had 2 things. My guy over at C3, the Carolina Cat Chronicles, my man, the professor. I was talking to him a few weeks back, and he said, man, you guys are struggling. He says, I said, yeah, we are. He said, yeah, sucks to be you guys right now. And I'm thinking, you're not that far away from us, bro. And, they won like 2 in a row at the time or whatever. So he was feeling really good. And I'm thinking, you guys stink too. Like, you're not that much better than us. And we'll play them later on in the season. And that's why we were talking. But I had another a viewer. I don't remember if he was a Washington fan or a Panthers fan or a fan of a different team. And he said, man, it's amazing how much better the Panthers got after Rivera left. And I'm like, it's a totally different team, and they're not that good. Don't think you guys have been watching the Panthers. You're just watching the records. You're not really watching this team. They're not that good. Now, they played better than I thought they were going to. I will admit, I thought the Panthers were going to be right there with the Jets and the Giants and Washington and all these teams that are struggling record-wise. I thought they were going to be right there with them. You know, 1-2 win team at this point. To have had a chance to get to 4 wins at this point of the season was remarkable. I mean, like I said, Matt Rule's doing a hell of a job. I think he's a hell of a head coach. I think he's going to turn things around in Carolina. I didn't expect it to be this soon, and it's not going to be in year 1. And tonight was essentially the exclamation point on that thought that they're not doing it this year. And just in case you thought they might be doing it this year, they're not doing it this year. Kevin, the PRF, says, Julio Jones would like for everyone to put some effing respect on his name. Hashtag no trade bait. I thought that tonight would be the perfect night for Julio if somebody wanted to come and get him. This was going to be a showcase game for him, and I was thinking that. And I meant to mention it on the podcast earlier. I said, you know what would be perfect? If somebody really was on the fence about Julio, like, what is this guy really doing? You can watch film. You know what he's still about. But you say, what is this guy really doing? You know, he's getting up there in age. They're paying him a boatload of money. Do we really want to trade for him? After watching tonight, is there any doubt that this guy's still one of the best receivers, if not the best receiver in football? If you're really hard off for a receiver, you know, this is a guy that can change the game for you. But again, nobody's coming calling for Julio Jones because of the cap number. I just don't think anybody's going to be able to fit him. That's a contender, at least. You know, normally if you're a good football team, you don't have a bunch of cap space. The teams with a ton of cap space right now are usually the teams that stink. You know, they got a bunch of young guys and, you know, they got a bunch of cap space. They don't have a franchise quarterback, so they're not paying a guy, you know, $30 million a year. And so they got all this cap space to play around with. You're not trading for Julio Jones if you got a bunch of cap space at this point in the season, more likely than not. Reese says, who else do you see being traded before the deadline? As we talked about, there are a bunch of guys. The Texans, we talked about this on the podcast earlier. The Texans have pretty much said everybody but Deshaun, J.J. Watt, Titus Howard, and Laramie Tunzel are available. Pick up the phone and call us. Ask us what we're looking for. See if we can't make something happen. I wouldn't trade Will Fuller if I were them. I think, to me, the guys that make the most sense and the guys that usually get moved at the trade deadline, and this is what I said earlier, are the guys that are veterans that have played in this league for a while. Either they're underperforming or they're on a team that's not going anywhere, and they still have value to a team that's competing. Their cap number is relatively low, and so it makes a ton of sense. To me, Will Fuller is premium bait right now. Premium trade bait. Like, the only reason you trade Will Fuller is because you have no intentions of signing him, and he's young, he's ridiculously talented, and you can fetch a second-round pick for Will Fuller right now. To me, the guys that are going to move are more along the lines of a Kenny Stills, a Randall Cobb, a Marvin Jones in Detroit. Those are the kinds of guys that are going to move. Veteran receivers, been in this league for a while. They know how to get open. They're consistent, reliable targets, and their cap numbers aren't ridiculous that they're going to hurt you. Marvin Jones may be making a good amount of money. I'd have to look at his cap number, but, you know, a guy like Randall Cobb not making a ton of money, that's a perfect trade guy right now. You know, and he's been playing well this year. You know, Kenny Stills, I don't know what his cap number is, probably not making an inordinate amount of money. Half of his salary has already been paid by the Texans. You probably, let's say he's making $8 million this year. You pay the final, you know, $4.5, $5 million. You'll do that. Kenny Stills is worth that. You know, and those are the kind of guys, like a Duke Johnson. I could see somebody saying, hey, we could use a great third down. I love Duke Johnson. I think he's one of the more underrated third down backs in the league. Like guys like those are the kind of guys I think you come and you poach from a bad team right now. You know, Anthony Harris, who's on a franchise tag, that's going to scare someone. That's a lot of money. I don't know what the safety franchise tag is. I'd venture to say with all the big deals that safeties got last offseason, where you saw Landon Collins get a massive deal, Earl Thomas get a massive deal, Tyrann Mathieu get a massive deal. That elevated that number for the safety position. He's probably making double figures in terms of per annual salary this year. That number might scare somebody off, but that's a guy that I would be interested in if you needed an upgrade at the safety position. He's young, and he's on a one-year deal, and if you want him back, you get first dibs. So those are just a few names that come to mind. Teams that could use a pass rusher, maybe looking for some pass rush help. Olivier Vernon is supposedly on the block for the Browns. I could see a team that is desperate for some edge rushing help, and you can see there are a lot of teams that are in the thick of things that need pass rushing help. I can see Olivier Vernon getting moved. John Perez says, man, Hockley and his crew are some ass cheeks. Flag after flag after flag every game they call. Hockley is the Angel Hernandez of football officials. You just can't catch a break. His dad was great. Look, he was very loquacious, but he was great. His son is equally as loquacious, and he's annoying, with the holding defense. Go sit your ass down somewhere being extra. I just hate that they call so many damn flags. The holding extra hard where we can hear it right by the damn mic, and then the hard two-finger aggressive point. I don't need that shit if you're going to throw 50 million flags. You get to do that if you're only throwing 5 flags a game. Then you can be extra when you finally do get a chance to get on the mic. But this is the guy that, even if there's not a flag, he'll get on the mic just to tell us some shit that you didn't need to get on the mic to tell us just because he wants some airtime. Stop trying to be like your goddamn dad, okay? Be your own man. Shit. They respot the ball, and he said, we had to respot the ball 1 yard backwards. Please reset the play clock. I don't need you to do all that shit. Just tell them, hey, reset the play clock to 25. Or you can just go, that works too. I don't need you running your mouth all the goddamn time. But he's an attention whore. He wants the attention on himself. If you want more attention, be like your dad and go lift some more weights in the offseason. Stop throwing so many goddamn flags. It's ridiculous. Alex Smith says, Ron just told me to tell you, he says, keep up the good work, and to put him on your podcast, he subscribed. Thanks, Alex. I really appreciate that. Kevin the PRF says, I like that back from the Panthers, Davis. Don't we all? I've talked about him for a very long time. I liked him back when he was in Seattle. Mike Davis has always been a physical, no-nonsense, hard-nosed runner. I've been shocked at how well he's been able to make guys miss. I liked him at South Carolina coming into the league. I'll say this. Seattle always gets it right with these guys. They know how to pick these types of backs. I was wrong about Chris Carson when they drafted him. I really liked Mike Davis. He was a 49er draft pick, and he ended up in Seattle, and they always seem to be able to identify these types of running backs. They don't miss on these kind of physical backs. And I think they've got another one coming down the pipeline in DJ Dallas from Miami. They just know how to find these guys. And they know what the identity is of a Seattle Seahawks running back, and Mike Davis fit that to a T. I thought he was going to do some really good things when he went to Chicago. It didn't work out there. He ends up in Carolina, and he's really just extended his career by at least 3 or 4 years, because this showcase, McCaffrey's going to come back, and his touches and his snaps are going to decrease greatly. But this little showcase, these 5 or 6 games that he was out here running around making all these plays, and he's allowed himself to now be a focal point for some team in the offseason that is like, hey, what's up with that Mike Davis dude, man? Let's give Carolina a call, or I don't know if he's on a 1-year deal or whatever the case may be, but I just know he's extended the life of his career with this little stretch of football because he's been ultra impressive. He says, looked like he grew up loving Barry Sanders, though he's 3 seconds slower than Barry Sanders. Let's see. Reese says, Chris Godwin broke his finger and had surgery. He will be out for some time, just justifying the L.A.B. move. Mike Evans is still extremely limited in practice. You relinquishing your grudge now? Maybe I might. Maybe they knew some things. I know Mike has been struggling with that hamstring all season long. I knew Chris Godwin was in and out of the lineup. At first it was, a concussion. Then it was I thought it was like a shoulder or something. Now he's, broken his finger. So maybe they knew they were going to have some issues at receiver. We'll see. I may back off of that grudge if there was some impetus for this. If there was a reason behind this, maybe I'll walk that back. Reese says the Falcons deserve whatever they get for drafting some guy named Caleb McGarry and thinking he'd be good. He's actually really solid. Caleb McGarry is. Their offensive line is pretty good. They spent a lot of draft capital. It better be good. They spent a lot of draft capital on that offensive line. If I'm not mistaken, every single one of their offensive linemen are first-round picks. I think that is actually factual. I know Matthews and McGarry and Lindstrom are all first-round picks. Not sure about their right guard. I think that's James Carpenter. I don't think he was a first-round pick, but I don't know who their left guard is either. But Alex Mack is a first-round pick, I believe. So I don't know. I just know they spent a lot of draft capital on their offensive line. Reese says, I can't wait to play the Saints again, Lou. We are clearly the better football team, and we're about to unleash AB on their punk ass. Hey, look, man. I'll tell you what. That's going to be a fun game. It's coming up soon. I want them to get a couple of, I feel like the Saints are like a boxer that's been on a little bit of a hiatus. Like, let's say they retired for a while, and now they decided they want to unretire. I need the Saints to get a couple of chumps under their belt first before they step up to y'all in a real heavyweight championship match. Like, I don't want them. I need Michael Thomas, and what I mean by this, I need Michael Thomas and E-Man Sand to play a couple of games. Now that E-Man Sand is more comfortable in this offense, I need Michael Thomas, E-Man Sand to get back and integrate themselves into this offense. Traquan Smith and all those guys, and kind of figure this thing out, because their offense doesn't look right now. And for good reason. They haven't had their best player since week 1. So I'd like to see them get a couple of games under their belt before they come and see you. That should be fun, though. That's going to be a really good game. It really is. Trump or Biden? Do you even have to ask that question? If you do, then I don't think you really know. Atlas says, speaking of the Texans, why is Titus Howard untouchable? He hasn't been a revelation at tackle from what I remember. He's been solid. They really like him, you know? And when you spend the first-round pick on a guy, as they did with Titus Howard, you're looking to collect on that investment. You're not going to get a first-round pick for Titus Howard, so why would you trade him? I think they really think he's good, you know? And even if he's not there yet, they think he can get there. They like his athleticism. That's why they drafted him in the first round. So I wouldn't trade him either. I mean, unless you're getting a first-round pick back for him and you're not sold on him. You know how hard it is to find quality tackles in this league? If he's even remotely close to being what you thought he was going to be, you don't trade him. You spent the first-round pick on him. You still got 3 more years. If you pick up the 5th-year option of Titus Howard on a rookie contract, those are hard to come by. No, you wouldn't trade him. Gregory Lightbody says, I don't want Washington to trade Kerrigan. He's too special to me. If we won't get a second, don't trade him. Well, we're not getting a second for him. So I don't think he's going anywhere. I think Washington is going to purposefully play hardball. Like, I think they would be willing to trade him. But as you mentioned, it would take a second. Nobody's giving up a second-round pick for Ryan Kerrigan. I don't even think you could get a 3rd for Kerrigan. I think you could get a 4th for Ryan Kerrigan. That's not good enough. He's worth more to us than he is some team, giving him away for a 4th-round pick. So I don't think they're going to trade him. And I think if they are considering it, they're going to put the price so high that it's going to scare everybody away. So JP says, heard that Atlanta might move Tack McKinley. Love his story of how he promised his dying grandmother he was going to make it to the league, but he needs a change of scenery. It's a great story, but he's an average football player. I'm glad he made it to the league. I'm glad he was able to fulfill that promise that he made to his grandma, but he's an average football player. Cody _ says, this was a big win for the Falcons, not for playoffs, but for players' mental. Anytime you win, it's big in this league. And that's what fans don't understand when they talk about tanking, and they don't take the players into consideration. You know how hard these guys work on a weekly basis to prepare for a game, all this film study, all of the practice, all of the weight training, all the things that they do to their bodies, all of the treatment that they're getting to prepare themselves to play in a game only to lose that gets old fast. And after a while, it weighs on you. As you mentioned, mentally, it weighs on you. So when you win, it's so gratifying. And, a wise man once told me, these wins, these dubs that you get in the NFL, they're so hard to come by. Some teams make it easy, make it look easy, like Baltimore and Kansas City, and Pittsburgh, and some of these teams that win all the time, Green Bay, and you take it for granted. Like, oh man, they won again. It's hard to win in this league. It really is. And so when you're struggling like the Falcons were, you just need one. You just need one to remind you that, hey, we're not as bad as our record says we are. Because you start to believe that after a while. Like, at the end of games, don't tell me that those players in the back of their mind weren't thinking, after the 3rd and 17, 42-yard conversion, don't tell me they weren't thinking, oh, shit, here we go again. Or at least somebody on the bench offensively who was watching the defense give it up wasn't thinking it. I saw Matt Ryan, when Wk8 missed the extra point, they panned over to Matt Ryan, who was throwing his hat, his helmet all to the bench as they just scored the touchdown. And I saw him get a sip of his drink, and he says, oh, shit. He knew. Damn, that's what it made it a 9-point game. Here we go again. That kind of creeps into your mind when you've had the struggles the Falcons have had. So winning a game like this helps your mental, for sure. Atlanta Fan 21 says, I don't know if you've talked about him yet, but Bleedy Ray Wilson, low-key, has been the Falcons' best corner the last 2 years. Coaches still refuse to start him, though. I said, no, I haven't talked about him tonight. Bleedy Ray was great, especially after he came in early. They sustained an injury. He came in the game, and I don't know if he left the field after that, and he was really good. He had the game-clinching interception. Yeah, he was really good. Really, really good in this football game. There's got to be something there, though, that they won't start him. I don't know what it is. Gregory Lightbody says, we've got to find a way to get Curtis Samuel in free agency. We already missed on Robbie Anderson. Curtis Samuel showed me a little something tonight. And I've seen this from him before. He looked more like the Ohio State Curtis Samuel. And maybe because he's got a head coach that understands how to use him now. Because, with Scott Turner and Rivera and company, it either was him being a traditional receiver or a jet sweep. They weren't using him in the backfield with handoffs and things. Like that first touchdown in the game, man, was he quick in the hole, quick, decisive cuts. He was like at warp speed. I was like, God damn, he's moving extra fast. It was a thing of beauty. I was like, he's almost moving so fast that he's going to trip himself and he's going to fall. But it was such a great run. And he can do that. He did it at Ohio State. Like, he's comfortable running the football. So you can hand it to him. And they didn't do that before. Now they're doing it, and they're maximizing what he is as a football player. I thought they actually got away from getting him the football, which was arguably the biggest mistake of the game. I thought that he was dominant early, and they just stopped going to him for whatever reason. Young Deck says, do you realistically see the Bucs competing with the Saints for the division? Saints match up very well head-to-head with them. Absolutely, I do. Now, here's the thing. The Bucs continue to gain confidence as the weeks progress. The Saints seem to just be getting by. But I know why. That's why I want to see them get a game or two under their belt before they match up against these Bucs again, because that could be for the division. If you sweep them, you got them right where you want them. Not necessarily guaranteeing you anything, but you got them right where you want them. Because then they would have to finish a game better than you this season to win the division, because you would have the season sweep over them. So a tie wouldn't do. But if you split with them, then you start looking at conference records and, games against common opponents, things of that nature. Don't know how you fare at the end of the season once you get there. You have a chance. Yeah, I do think the Bucs match up favorably, because they can do some things that, remember, in week one, and again, week one is week one, but the Saints were at full strength then. Michael Thomas was healthy then. They didn't look good in that game. I told you when that game was over, I said I was most impressed with the Buccaneers' defense in that game. The Saints looked bad offensively in that game. They really did. If there was a pick six in there, the Buccaneers muffed a kickoff that the Saints recovered and gave them great field position that they were able to take advantage of. Like, there were mistakes made by Tampa Bay in that game. Brady had 2 interceptions in that game, one of them a pick 6. There were short fields created by special teams, gaff, and all kinds of mistakes in that game. The Buccaneers defensively got after the Saints in that game. And you could get after Drew Brees. I think they do match up with them favorably. But Emmanuel Sanders wasn't up to speed on the playbook then. He even admitted it. I think he's a much better player for them now than he was then. You're going to get Michael Thomas back at some point. That's going to be a huge lift to this offense. And you still have Alvin Kamara and Jared Cook. And, you know, the beauty of what the Saints have done, and this is always the great thing when guys are out and other guys step up, is that you've gotten lesser guys experience. Like Marquez Callaway, like Traquan Smith, more experience for guys that you're going to need to step up as you try to make this run. Those guys got invaluable experience so that when these big boys come back, they're still solid contributors now. And now their roles will be diminished and they'll be put back into their proper slots. At times, Traquan Smith had to be a 1 for this offense. He's never supposed to be anything more than a 3rd option at receiver. Never. So once you get Eman Sand and Michael Thomas back, it properly slots all of your receivers, and now you start to have more weapons at your disposal. I do think they match up. It's going to be a fun game. I think their defense, though, is capable of getting after Drew Brees, forcing him into mistakes. I do think that Alvin Kamara can be a problem for them, even though they have the speed to match up with Kamara. He's just a nightmare. And when you start adding in all of these receivers, I do think Alvin Kamara could be a problem for them. But it's going to be a fun game. I do think they match up well. Kevin, the PRF, says, how bad is Tampa going to put it on the Giants? The Giants might be eating their own crap playing 3 NFC least in a row. And we know Brady is like seeing is like a bull seeing red, seeing the Giants. I think in my mind, the score I have in my mind that I put down for my football pool is 31-10, 41 points combined. I don't see the Giants scoring more than 10 points. I think all the firepower in this game is going to be supplied by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Gregory Lightbody says, why are you so impressed by Chase Young? He doesn't get sacks or a lot of pressure. He could be Vic Beasley or Clowney. If I have to explain that to you, and again, I realize you don't watch film. So that's why you keep asking me the same question. If you're not watching the film, I can't help you. If you don't see it on the field, I can't help you. If I have to explain, sort of like Jack Del Rio, when one of the beat reporters asked him, what does it mean when someone gives you juice? And he said, look, if you don't know what it means and I have to explain it to you, then you don't get it, and I'm not going to waste my time trying to explain it to you. Same thing here. If you don't get it, I'm not going to try to explain it to you. It's just a waste of time because you don't get it. JP says, Gurley surprisingly looks good this year. Doesn't quite look like the Rams Gurley who was making guys miss because of the knee issues, but he's been solid. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I don't think he'll ever be that guy again, but he looks better than the guy that we saw at the end of the season that looked like he was shot, like he was done, like he had 2 bad knees. Reese says, the Saints have our number. We need to beat them if we're serious about contending. We played them the following Sunday after the Giants. I thought that it was a Week 9 contest. I do remember hearing somebody say that on one of these games that it was Week 9. So a 1-game tune-up against Chicago is all the Saints get. They need to take advantage of it. Kevin the PRF says, F.A. Obata has my favorite current journey to the NFL story. He was an overseas guy. He does have a great story. And they're trying to help more guys like F.A. Obata in that program, that overseas program that they have. Washington is actually taking part in it. They have a guy on their practice squad that is playing that comes from overseas. They're trying to help. That's, you kind of miss out on guys that are good players from overseas because you don't have NFL Europe anymore. That's where those guys used to develop. You don't have that anymore, so you miss out on some guys. So now the NFL has this overseas program that they're instilling where 7 teams are participating, and they get to have an extra spot on their practice squad to help these guys develop in the league. Reese says, Carlos Dunlap must be happy. He's been in a stank-ass land for a while now, and since he landed with a Super Bowl contender. Let's see if he's going to play now, because he was doing next to nothing this season. Let's see what he does. Cody _ says, for sure, Lou. You could tell how happy Matty Ice was when they got the game-winning pick, probably thinking it was going to be the same scene for the 19th time. Yeah. And that's what fans don't realize. The ones that want to tank and, we suck, we need to lose. And, they don't understand how hard these guys work. If you've ever played football, it doesn't matter what level. If you play at a high school level, that's probably as far down you have to go to understand how much goes into a week of preparation, how much film study, weightlifting, treatment from, the medical staff, how much all of that goes into practice time, going over stuff. There's a lot that goes into a week preparing for a team. And you submerge yourself in what that team does. And, if they do this, how do we adjust to that? If they give us this look, this is what we should do. And if they adjust to what we're doing, this is how we counter that. Like, there's so many things that go into it. And to come out and then lose again, and then it just wears on you. It's tough. I remember in high school, because I didn't play at a high level. I remember in high school, we weren't bad very often. We were a really good program. And my high school has gotten so big now in terms of their football program. They turned into a powerhouse of late. But when we were there, we had one season where, we weren't very good. And guys started, because basketball season is right after football season in high school. And so guys that were, two sport athletes that played basketball started to check out mentally. We supposed to be walking to football practice. They'll stop past the gym, get up a couple jumpers. Like, guys started to check out. When you're not winning, it's easy to start focusing on other things. It's easy to mentally check out because it's so hard to focus for a week knowing that the end result is probably going to be bad. So why am I going to put all of this attention to detail and all of this focus in if we're not going to win anyway? It's tough. It's human nature. And so every now and again, you have to remind yourself, you're not doing this in vain. You're not doing this for no reason. You're good enough to win. And if you go out and you prepare the right way, you do the right things, you go out and execute, you minimize the mistakes, you can win ball games. And games like this remind you of that in case you stop believing. JP says, AJ Terrell is some trash. Wasn't the biggest fan of his coming out of Clemson when those LSU boys, Chase and Jefferson, became his two daddies. I like AJ Terrell. I've always been an AJ Terrell fan. I've always said with AJ Terrell, it always seems like something's missing with him. But he's got all the tools, as I like to say. He's toolsy. He's got all the tools to be a really good starting caliber NFL corner. But it always seems like something's missing with AJ Terrell. Reese says, you sure hit the nail on the head with Scotty Miller. He was a 6th-round pick from Bowling Green. When you broke him down, you said there are a lot of fast guys, but he's different fast. You can tell when you see it. You can tell when you see a guy that's running next level. When he's got that extra gear that other fast guys don't seem to have. You can see it with Scotty Miller. And when you watch him at Bowling Green, he's smoking dudes. I don't care that he's playing against UTEP. I don't care that he's playing against Marshall. He was running by guys. I don't care if he was running past, UTSA. He was smoking dudes. North Texas. I don't care. He's fast. You can see fast when you see fast. Kevin the PRF says, what's your take on Jared Cook? He seems his whole career, I've never seen him making great plays, but for a different team every other year. Why did he never stick with one franchise? Well, he started out slow with the Rams. Wasn't what they thought he was going to be. He had his moments. He had fumbling issues, and he would drop the football from time to time. So they got rid of him. They were tired of it, and when his contract was up, he moved on. And it wasn't until I thought that he got to Green Bay that he really started to play with that level of confidence that it was going to take for him to be a real big-time tight end in this league. Aaron Rodgers, I thought, instilled some big-time confidence in him. He went to Oakland, and he became a stud for the Raiders, put up monster numbers. That's how he landed with the Saints, and he's been really good for the Saints. He's been really solid for the Saints. So, yeah, he's been solid. Reese says, I'll never forget that breakdown, Lou. You were like, no one can catch this little dude. I had to look him up after that. I told you, I mean, there's certain guys, just like Derrick Henry. I said the same thing about him. I said, look, I know what he ran at the combine, and I know you're not impressed. You should be. The dude is 6'3", 250. But I know you're not overly impressed with a 4.52 or whatever it was he ran. You've seen big guys run fast before. We see these defensive linemen, these 260-pound guys running, 4.41s like Montez Sweat. And so you find a way to not be impressed when you see a guy like Derrick Henry. But I'm going to tell you this. I never saw a guy in college football run him down from behind. Never saw a guy in the SEC catch him from behind. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Same thing with Scotty Miller. Didn't see guys catching him from behind. Reese says, Falcons out there looking like the mean machine. Now I have to associate a movie I love with the team I despise. They always find a way to piss me off. I can't stand those jerseys. I can't. I really can't. Anyway, we hit our hour mark, and we're out of comments. So it kind of synced up perfectly tonight. I thank you guys for joining me. Got a comment here from Kevin the PRF, who writes, he said, you nailed high school me. I was that guy. Our football team was average. Our basketball team was district champs. I get in trouble with coaches playing b-ball before football games. I seen it all the time. I was on teams just like that. I see it, You see guys that they're itching for a chance to get out there and play some ball now because football season, in their mind, is over. You got 3 games left. But they know that, the guys that aren't football players are starting conditioning, and they're getting out there, and they're starting to shoot, and they're getting that itch. It's cold outside. It's wet at practice. Like, those are the worst practices. When you stink or you're not going anywhere, this team isn't going to win a championship. It's cold as shit outside. It's wet and it's rainy. Those are the worst days to be at football practice. You know where they much rather be? Inside in a nice climate-controlled gym shooting a jumper. Shoot it. All right? I've seen it before many a time, so I know. That's how it goes. It's and that's in high school. So think about it when you're dealing with grown-ass men that have families and other shit that they could be doing. They're millionaires. They got all this money. I don't want to be here. Your team stinks. It's easy to say, you know where I'd rather be? I'd rather be on a beach in Mexico somewhere. I'd rather be in Puerto Rico right now. We got a beach house out in Malibu. I'd much rather be there. I'd rather be in South Beach right now. It's easy to get away mentally when your team isn't winning football games. And that's why it's important to win, to give guys hope. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. Thank you for the super chat, Jacob. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. So that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. I greatly appreciate every single one of you for showing up, showing out, participating, and blessing your man Louie T with another outstanding live stream. You guys are the best. Every time, I don't think guys are going to show up for one of these shows after a game. I look up and there are 100 of you here, man. I really do appreciate you guys rocking with me. It's late. It's past midnight. It's going on 1 o'clock in the morning. And I don't know where all of you live or reside. It might be 10:40 where you are. You might be in a mountain time zone. It might be 9:40, and this is right in your wheelhouse. It's just getting late. It's just early still for you. But for me on the East Coast, and a lot of you I think are on the East Coast too, man, it's damn near 1 in the morning, and you're up chopping it up with me, your man Louie T, and I really appreciate you guys. So I thank you so much. If you're out there and you're watching the show, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. All right? Go ahead. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And tell your friends. Tell somebody you know about the Louie T Network. If they don't know, make sure they know. And also, hit the like button too on your way out. Show me some love. Help a brother out. So I really do appreciate you guys. I'm going to go ahead, as my man Kevin the PRF said, I'm going to glide to the side. You know how this goes. If it's not your man T, it's not, I repeat, not the best NFL coverage it could be. Until next time, you guys have a good one. Atlanta Falcons get their second win of the season on the road in the division. They get their first divisional win of the season over the Carolina Panthers, who after starting the season 0-2 and then running off 3 straight, have now lost 3 straight. 25-17 is the final score as the Panthers dropped to 3-5 on the season. And really, they needed this one. If they were planning on having a season this year, they needed to win this football game. They don't. The Falcons do, who are now 2-6 on the season. And as Tony Gonzalez said, the best 2-6 football team I think I've ever seen. That doesn't really mean much, but it is facts for whatever that's worth. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.
LouieTeeNetwork.